Scandalous. So I'm going to wait for a few of you guys to come in. Today we are going to be talking about the Diddy trial. And so TMZ is doing they did a video, the downfall of Diddy, and they're talking about his defense. What will his defense be? And they did like a mock trial, right? To kind of see what people would think, like if they had like jurors and everything. Y'all know how mock trials work, to see if they would get a guilty verdict. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be doing that whole mock trial. And before we get into that, we're going to talk about, hey, welcome in. Please hit that like button if you're just joining. We're going to talk about the freak offs and one of his biggest defenses. Now, I mean, for most of us, we think that, Diddy, we know that more than likely he's going to do some time. I'm just sorry. I think that his other attorney, Anthony, the black guy that quit, he probably quit because he wanted them to take a plea deal, right? That's what I think. But let's get into, and I'm going to show you this article we're going to read before we get into the movie. So there's a show on Tubi, and so that's what we're going to be reviewing. It says Diddy freak offs are all about consent, and that's going to be the bulk of what he's talking about for his defense. Y'all hit the like button, please hit the like. Hey, Eric E, welcome to the chat. Let me turn the screen back. Welcome to the chat. Thank you for joining. So we're going to be talking about what his defense is more than likely going to be. And basically that, just so we're clear. So the video with Cassie, they're only going to be showing that if it's allowed into evidence to try to make him look bad, which of course that they, the prosecuting team, that's what they want to do. But it really, what he did to Cassie in that video, it has run the statute of limitation, and so it will have no bearing on the case, other than the fact that he did it and to try to make him look like a horrible person. So it says there's a TMZ report. It says Diddy freak offs are all about consent. And let me turn this around. We're going to get into this story, and then we're going to go to the downfall of Diddy and what his defense is going to be. It says TMZ, let me get it closer. Make it a little bit bigger if I can. TMZ examines the legal strategies surrounding the freak-offs in a new documentary, The Downfall of Diddy. His defense available now on Tubi. So we're going to go and review that and just kind of see if we agree with what the jurors are thinking. The criminal defense lawyers who have won some of the most high-profile celebrity criminal cases in America break down how consent will play a big role in Diddy's trial. Okay. Prosecutors need to prove Diddy used coercion in those freak-off parties if they're going to get a conviction. But listen, Joe Tacopina, Mark Garagos, and Jose Baez explain why Diddy's defense will be confident they can prove that these were consensual encounters. Now, for those of you who don't know, okay, so Joe Tacopina, that was, Rihanna's husband. I forget his name. It's just escaping me right now. That was Rihanna's husband's attorney. Mark Garagos. He was really big with the R. Kelly cases. And his daughter, I forget her first name, but Garagos, she is one of Diddy's current attorneys. And Jose Baez, I can't cite any cases that he's done, but I know he's a big name, but I can't think of anything that he's done. It says Diddy's team describes all the alleged victims as former girlfriends. And as these criminal defense lawyers point out, it's no easy task for feds to convince a jury these women were being trafficked. And again, I said that in the beginning. Just the fact that they were girlfriends, they kept coming back, it's going to be hard to prove, even with Cassie. I mean, I know a lot of people feel like they saw that video and he's horrible and everything. But over a 10-year period, it's going to be hard for them to prove that, that she was forced to do it. They're going to say that these girlfriends wanted to do it. They knew what was going on. They helped arrange these freak-off parties. So it's going to be an uphill battle. But, I mean, it's the feds, though. It's the feds. So more than likely, the feds are the feds. We even had a mock jury for our documentary, which deliberated and fiercely debated coercion and consent. So the whole premise that they're saying is it's going to be the coercion versus the consent with the Diddy case before voting on whether Diddy is guilty or not. So as we watch this show today, I want to see us as the jurors, what we come up with, okay? So let me go back and play. We're going to play her talking about the video of Cassie.
Where'd you get those shoes?
So we're going to turn it down because it's a commercial. Again, y'all, if you're just joining, please do me a favor and hit that like button. I'd appreciate it. So we're going to listen to what they're saying, and hopefully, because you know this is on Tubi, so hopefully I can show it. If not, you know, I'll show as much as I can, and then we're going to make a decision as to whether or not we agree with the juries and their findings. I personally think, okay.
Cassie is going to be the star witness, and the feds acknowledged that there was a span between 2009 and 2018 where these freak-offs occurred, and this was during their on-again, off-again relationship. Does the longevity of that relationship help the defense when it comes to issues like consent?
I think that undermines any suggestion that it was.
And again, keep in mind that Mark Garagos, that his daughter is currently one of Diddy's, she's on Diddy's legal team now.
Coercive. I think it was a relationship. Anybody who saw them, anybody who witnessed them, you know, I off and on would have a front row seat. And I will tell you that that relationship, which was well chronicled, including by your publication, does not appear to me to be anything more than a very spirited and emotional long-term relationship.
How does the defense explain away a video that paints a horrendous picture of Diddy?
I mean, imagine it would be an argument like this. You know, who someone is on their worst day of their life, in their worst moment of their entire lived experience, is not who they are in totality. If the defense can sell that convincingly, I think they stand to fight another day.
So let's talk about the Cassie video. He is not being prosecuted for that. It's a state crime, and the statute of limitations has run. But this jury is going to see that video. How does the defense overcome that?
Well, you say he's not being prosecuted for that, but he actually is. You know, and whether it's done at this time or at that time, it's still being done. So you can try your best to justify, or you can try your best to explain that aspect, that he's not on trial for this, he's on trial for something else. But the reality is, those arguments fall on deaf ears. The prosecution is going to say some very ugly things about his behavior, about that specific incident. I think the defense would have to be even harsher and worse in describing that incident and showing how he is absolutely ashamed, embarrassed, humiliated, and incredibly regretful for that stupid decision. If you give them nowhere to go, they've got nowhere to go.
Hey, Dida, welcome to the chat. Happy Sunday. D-Dot says, hey, chat room. So you guys, now they're saying he's not going to be persecuted for that, but I agree with him to that degree that just the fact that they bring it up is going to be bad for him. So let's look at, now, so this is the marked jury. Now, remember, you guys, we are the jurors, okay? And so I'm going to put on that Tubi show, and I want us to collectively decide based on the evidence. Let's not go with what, oh, we know Diddy did this, Diddy did that. Let's act like we are actual jurors, and we have to decide based on the evidence if he is guilty. Now, I think he's guilty, y'all, but we gonna just do it based on the evidence, though.
With Mochi help,
Oh, let me turn this. Let me put this.
I have no desire to be skinny.
Take that commercial off. And you guys know TMZ just released a documentary or docuseries. It's called The Downfall of Diddy, His Defense. And what they're pretty much saying is that it's going to be based on that whole consent thing. And I think another thing, I know a lot of people don't believe this or they don't like me saying this, but the defense, y'all, they're going to try to act like Cassie was equally involved. Okay, here we go.
And I don't want to say where I'm leaning, but there has been no profit motive involved at all. The last word is profit.
He's already rich.
So whether
Okay, you guys, I just gotta say this part. What they're talking about, and it's probably gonna come up. They're talking about the fact that it's a RICO. With a RICO, there needs to be organized crime, and there needs to be a profit, like to show that there was profit. And what they're arguing is that there was no profit. So where is the RICO charge? Not that he didn't do some of these things. There's a criminal aspect, but the RICO part. So okay, let me get back.
racketeering, the biggest question, and I don't want to say where I'm leaning, but there has been no profit motive involved at all. The last word is profit.
He's already rich.
So whether or not he had the freak offs or he did whatever,
Follow the money.
well, there is no money.
Exactly.
I mean, the freak offs aren't okay. The way in which I read it, it's not an illegal business. A freak off is a freak, or whatever these things are, right? But the profit, that last word actually got my attention because I was like, how is he making any money in that thing at all? So I don't know.
You follow the money in a lot of situations like this if you really want to get to the truth, right? I wholeheartedly agree. If you take for profit the last two words of this definition out of it, does it change the way you look at it or the validity of that allegation towards him at all?
Well, I don't believe that you can take.
If it's for profit, then if it's a RICO, wouldn't that change the parameters of the case? I'm just asking the questions, y'all. Let's get the likes up, please. Can we hit that like button?
Profit out of this, and simply because this is what he's been charged with, and there, from what I could see, there was no profit.
But the coercion piece is somebody mentioned about, people wanting their career to blow up or whatever. That's coercion. I mean, it's different modes of coercion, and whether or not, you shouldn't make that choice. You did make a choice, but it's
Okay, D-Dot. So, we got the RICO situation. Then we got the coercion. Are you being coerced to do something because you want to do something for your career? Did he make you do it, or did you do it agree? I don't know if agreeably is a word. I'm making up shit, y'all. Or did you do it because you wanted to gain something? So were you coerced to do it, or did you do it because you wanted some profit? I mean, let's ask these questions.
coercion.
That has nothing to do with sex trafficking and prostituting.
No, but
For
that's
the purpose of a commercial sex act.
right.
Yeah, but I don't see the coercion part.
You know?
Because if like he willingly did it and then the person willingly accepted, I don't
Yeah.
I
I
don't
think
see the
one thing that I have
See, that's what I'm feeling like. If you willingly participate in with something, like, I mean, it's a lot of things that, of course, he did it for himself, but it's a lot of things that people could say, hey, you know what? If you run these rugs for me, you know what I'm saying? DRUGSs, I'll pay you, $2,000. You want to do it? There's a yes or a no factor. Nah, I'm scared. I'm not getting into all that, right? Were you coerced, or did you make a choice or a decision? That's what I'm saying.
I haven't heard said at this table yet is bribery. So he probably
Hey, Prince Charles, welcome to the chat. Thank you for joining. Make sure you hit that like when you come in, baby.
promised a lot of these people either fame, fortune, riches. Whether or not he delivered, I doubt it. But that's another matter entirely, right? So that's obviously, if he incentivized some of these people in order to participate in all of these things, that wouldn't surprise me at all. Is that a definition, or does that fit a definition of coercion in any way? Bribery?
I think his name alone would make him do that.
Thank you.
Yeah, like they're
I'll help you with your career. I'll make you a star. Come party with me.
girls, if you listen to what they say, because I'm a little bit younger, I can see the social media. Girls ask to get flown out nowadays. Does that mean I go to jail because I did it? Ain't no party like a Diddy party.
Yeah.
I say that because maybe someone was coming.
These women, I am a woman. When you go and you getting attached to these type of men, you already know what time it is. I just feel that you do. Ain't no party like a Diddy party. I'm getting flued out. What the hell you think you gonna get flued out? You gonna bend over once you get there. That's the reality. Come on, guys. Let's be real.
Out of town to party with Diddy, they ended up having sex, but does that mean that they were a sex worker? They might have just been coming to have a party.
No, but that's
Oh, that's
Yeah,
that's
Diddy
something
party.
else.
But if you go to a Diddy party, this is gonna sound technical, but if you go to a Diddy party and you have sex with a sex worker that Diddy has flown in, that ain't you.
I
That's
don't know, he flew around.
no, but I'm saying that's That's what I'm saying. There's a credit card receipt
For that.
or something like that. I have no
Against
idea.
the wealthy and powerful.
Maybe it's just cash
Have
money.
his-
That's, you know.
someone
But is it illegal? So that's the part. If he's DRUG, you know, and I have to be careful because of YouTube. If he's giving people substances without their knowledge, that's one thing. But if you willingly go somewhere and you freaking off, whose fault is that?
works for him.
Welcome, Valeria Griffin. What if they show the profits being invested back into criminal ring for personal pleasures and high-end drugs? Follow the money. Well, yeah, because then that gets into money laundering and all of those things. So you're right. I mean, but they got to prove it, though. But, okay, come on.
Him's assistant making these payments.
No, remember,
He's so
Trevor, cash money.
resourceful. He's got dozens of people who could be carrying out some
And it
of
may
these
not
things for
even
him.
be money, it might be just a favor.
More ungodly amounts of cash that the man has hanging around, right?
I'm crystal clear that this happens to hundred. I mean, serious. There are 100 dudes, white dudes in LA doing this right now.
Yeah.
Wow.
Easy. However, no, they are not Diddy. But no, they don't have a 14-page indictment. I mean,
So, yeah, you know, you guys know Diddy was trying to make it a racial issue. I don't think it's a race thing. I mean, maybe his attorneys can make that case, but it sounds like one of the judges already smacked that down. Like, no, you know, we're not doing that.
committed crimes. He ain't the only dude committing crimes. He committed crime.
Madam Foreperson, will you stand, please? And will you read the verdict?
Dida says if you put yourself in, it should be held accountable. Dida, I absolutely agree. Don't sit up here and being an ex-worker doing the and then when something blow up, oh, I'm not, you know, and I want to get paid. You participated. Now Diddy may be wrong as two left shoes, but what did you do? Like, there has to be accountability for everybody, I think.
Yes. We, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant, Sean Diddy Combs.
Okay, y'all. So I'm gonna go to the main one now.
Make the world a better place.
A better place.
Better place.
Interesting, because I don't know if you guys have seen it or have you guys already heard what they came away with? I don't know if you have. But anyway, let's go ahead and watch this. Now, this is, again, it's Tubi. I don't know how much of it I can show, but I'm going to try. So y'all, please get the likes up because y'all know I'm taking a little bit of a risk. Please, let's hit the like button. Let's roll.
The defense has countless written communications that will negate any lack of consent in this case, that will negate any coercion in this case.
If all the prosecution can offer by way of proof and argument when they put this thing up for trial is that Sean Combs was having threesomes and participating with the enjoyment of legally hired sexual escorts, they're going to lose. Period.
Oh,
If you have a divided jury, a diverse jury that doesn't get along well, you could very well hang this independent of the evidence.
can you guys hear okay? Because it sounds a little low to me. But like she said, if that's all that they can prove that he was doing freak offs, yeah, not good.
When they put this thing up for trial is that Sean Combs was having threesomes and participating with the enjoyment of legally hired sexual escorts, they're going to lose. Period.
If you have a divided jury, a diverse jury that doesn't get along well, you could very well hang this independent of the evidence.
We, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant, Sean Diddy Combs.
Pretty much everybody watching this unfold.
D-Dot says, don't say you a victim and you was right, you was getting your cheeks clapped. You got paid, you went there, you got flued out, you was drinking champagne out of shoes. You did all of it. Now all of a sudden you a victim 20 years later. Man, come on now.
Racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, interstate transportation for prostitution.
The first paragraph of the indictment really sums up the charges. It said, for decades, Sean Combs, the defendant, abused, threaten and coerce women and others around him to fulfill his sexual desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct.
On one occasion in March of 2016, that conduct was captured on video and later reported in the media.
Hey, y'all, let's get the likes up. Please hit the like button.
Listen to everybody, but you believe all proof. This video is proof. Hands down proof. And it is just so disgusting.
They're going to show that video over
Oh, no.
and over.
Cassie, Combs' ex-girlfriend. She sued him back in November of 2023 for sexual assault, battery, sex trafficking. This is among other claims. And that case ultimately started the ball rolling with more lawsuits filed against Combs and ultimately culminated with these criminal charges.
You had U.S. Attorney Damian Williams saying that these victims felt they could not leave because their own security was at risk if they did. And there is actual video evidence of that when one of the victims was trying to leave a hotel room, trying to leave one of those freak-offs, and what happened? Sean Combs violently beat her. That is on tape.
Everyone right here!
So they're trying to use that Cassie tape to prove that that was a freak-off situation. To be honest, like, so the defense is saying, no, it wasn't, that they were just having a, situation, a lover's quarrel. But I think it probably was because it was at a hotel and a lot of their events would take place at a hotel. So I don't think the prosecuting team is going to have a hard time proving that.
After Cassie filed her lawsuit, you said, been trying to tell y'all for years. What were you trying to tell people?
That Diddy was not a safe human and that you should be careful if you're planning on entering any type of relationship with him, from business to personal.
He's accused of creating a criminal organization.
Now that was Aubrey O'Day, you guys remember her? She's from Down to Duquesne.
Labor, interstate transportation for purposes of prostitution, coercion and enticement to engage in prostitution, narcotics offenses, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice. That is many crimes. Actually, that is a lot of criming.
Congratulations on the revoke, man. Thank you very much.
Combs allegedly planned and controlled the sex performances, which he called freak-offs. And he...
Yeah, D-Dot, you remember her? Remember Aubrey? Now, I used to watch that show back in the day, and I could tell that Diddy had a thing for Aubrey, but I always thought that Aubrey was kind of flirting back with him. I guess I was wrong.
Often electronically recorded them. The freak-offs sometimes lasted days at a time, involved multiple commercial sex workers, and often involved a variety of narcotics.
One of the things they are alleging, and this is the prostitution charge, which is that Diddy would bring male porn stars across state lines to participate in these freak-offs and essentially victimize, I mean, that's the way they're putting it, some of the women who were pressured to be part of it.
In March of this year, special agents from HSI executed search warrants at Combs' residences in Miami.
Yes, she did, D-Dot. I don't know if you looked at my channel, but I did an interview with Malika. She didn't make it to making the band, but she thinks that Diddy didn't do all of that. So go check it out whenever you get a chance.
And Los Angeles. They seized firearms and ammunition, including 3 defaced AR-15s and a large capacity drum magazine. They also seized evidence.
Oh, you guys, I have to turn away from that because you guys know we can't have weapons on the screen. Okay.
Of the freak-offs with multiple victims. They seized cases and cases of the kinds of personal lubricant and baby oil that Combs' staff allegedly used to stock hotel rooms for the freak-offs. More than 1,000 bottles altogether. The victims did not believe they could refuse Combs, risking their security.
Y'all, let's get the likes up. Now, the baby oil. Here's a big misconception about the baby oil. The baby oil has not been proven to have had GHB, or it's not that it didn't. He did have baby oil by the truckloads, D-Dot. But there has been no evidence that it was laced with the GHB. And I was one of the first YouTubers to put it on YouTube to report about it, but there was never any evidence. There are cases where people lace baby oil, but so far they haven't given us the proof or admitted it into evidence. And Prince Charles said, dang, these things be going off the screen, says Diddy suffers from affluenza, for sure.
Or facing more abuse.
I don't give a fuck who you are. He's got it. Fuck who you are either, Come on, just keep walking, keep walking.
I knew all of that was going on. I've known the whole time.
But what the prosecutors have done is expanded the case with more details. They've added 2 new female victims, and they've also said that the alleged crimes took place over a longer time frame than they'd initially said.
By
Oh,
adding
wow.
these 2 additional women, the feds are sort of bolstering their case, and they're saying these women were also lured and trafficked for prostitution, and he says they were paid in career opportunities, they were paid in money, and they were paid in maybe their housing expenses and rent being paid.
One of the lawyers representing Sean Diddy Combs in his sex trafficking case is quitting. Anthony Rico filed notice in Manhattan.
Now, I think Anthony Rico quit because he knew they didn't have enough time for a good defense, and he also, I think he felt like they needed to do a plea deal.
Federal court Thursday writing, quote, "Under no circumstances can I continue to effectively serve as counsel." It's about time that he goes to prison.
Wait, Erica, are you talking about the baby oil?
And you know, and that's all I'm going to say about that. Diddy done.
When you said Diddy done, Diddy done.
Racketeering conspiracy. When you hear sex trafficking by force, when you hear that drugs were used to keep them obedient and compliant, when you hear about the prostitution, male sex workers, and all of this other stuff, he's in a world of trouble.
Look at Stephen A. Smith with his crazy self. Now, interesting, y'all. Do you guys remember Stephen A. Smith came out in defense of Jay-Z, but he ain't say nothing about Diddy.
A diaper this leak-free,
Okay,
free.
let's see.
Only Pampers Cruisers 360 have a 360 stretchy waistband for up to 100% leak-proof fit.
Hey, Michael Miller, welcome to the chat. Welcome. We talking about Diddy, and we are being the judge and the well, we ain't gonna be the judge, but we gonna be the judge today. And this is a documentary that TMZ did, so I'm trying to see if I could sneak it up on here before they cut it off, and see if we find Diddy guilty based on the evidence that they're providing.
Figure out what's going on. That's all. People just want to know if you feel sorry, if things are gonna, what's going on with that. All right.
Have a good day.
All right.
That was him the day before, a few days before he was arrested.
My
Remember?
read on Diddy is, I think that when it comes to public perception, the public perception is that he's guilty, and that he's guilty of everything and anything that you can think of, and let your imagination go wild.
The lawyer who dropped out of his case and will no longer be representing Diddy, people are talking that necromancy is the reason why.
Like, baby oil is not really the baby oil. Is that?
Okay, you guys, so necromancy or necrophilia. Hey, AT2, welcome to the chat. Necrophilia is when you, I forget which is which, but one is when you worship like dead people, and the other is when you actually have relations with the bodies, right? And so I think it's the necrophilia where they're trying to say Diddy did. And what happens with that is that there's some people who, when they drug you, like I'm almost gonna say Bill Cosby, but when they give you drugs and you're passed out, that some people like the feel of you just literally seeming like you are just out of it. And so that would go on the lines of necrophilia as to why maybe he constantly drugged people. So that is, that's a rumor. I don't know.
It's actually GHD, which is like a drug.
Imagine how many people were paid off, bribed, threatened for this to be hidden for so long.
Years,
when it comes to
decades.
The actual case itself, the disconnect between the public perception and the publicly filed indictment may be one of the largest chasms I've ever seen in the last 40 years. I'm Mark Garrigus, and I represented Michael Jackson, and then ended up not only representing him, but testifying for him, not once, but twice.
Over 120 victims, both male and female, have come out with their own accusations, 25 of which were only minors, with the youngest being 9 years old.
They have pictures, video, text, and what
Now, FYI, at this point, I don't believe the minors are any of the charges against him at this point. The minor charges are not part of the prosecution. That's not part of the criminal charges.
expose many powerful people and their many dirty secrets. Essentially, this man is the Epstein of the music industry.
Everybody assumes that there's all kinds of Epstein-like collateral, that there's hundreds, if not thousands, of videotapes of A-list celebrities, that there's trafficking with minors, that there's all kinds of a fanciful sex slave operation. There is nothing that is too crazy to find currency on the internet when it comes to this case.
For decades, P. Diddy has been a hardcore sexual predator, running a massive sex trafficking operation that has involved...
Can you guys please hit the like button? Let's get the likes up, y'all. Now, just as a reminder, most of the salacious things that we heard about Diddy, y'all keep it in mind, remember we're the jurors, have been in those civil cases, not in the criminal case, which he was indicted for, right? I mean, it's some bad stuff, but the real freak stuff, and he did this and shoved the remote, that's been in the civil cases.
Many minors.
I'd just like to point out that not a single person has come forward to say that Diddy is innocent. Which lets me further know that he did all of that.
P. Diddy is going to end up with the death penalty charge.
Death penalty?
The public and the media have gotten nearly every fact wrong about what...
And that's crazy that somebody would say he's going to end up with the death penalty when we just seen a whole bunch of rappers be indicted for unaliving folks, and ain't none of them facing death penalty. Like, people would get crazy. I'm serious. Let's get the likes up, please.
Prosecution's cases here. So I just want to take one issue with that. You know, there's no minors, there's no celebrity sex tapes.
Oh, you guys, I think this is Garagos' daughter, Mark Garagos, because she's one of Diddy's attorneys, so I don't believe if she says.
You know, the civil lawsuits here are not driving the allegations that we're defending against, but it is driving the vitriol against him in the media.
We should say that one of the lead lawyers in this case, in Diddy's defense, is a woman named Tenny Garagos, who is your daughter.
Yes.
So, fair to say this might be a little colored by some family lineage here.
Well, I will also tell you that one of the lead prosecutors is the daughter of a gentleman named James Comey. So, you know, it's a battle of the, my daughter would hit me, but it's a battle of the Nepo babies.
Do y'all see how these attorneys, it's their daughters, it's their wives, they are making millions of dollars off of all of this. The prosecuting as well as the defense, they are all friends. It's a fraternity. They are all getting rich off of this. They are all getting rich.
This office is determined to investigate and prosecute anyone who engages in sex trafficking, no matter how powerful or wealthy or famous you may be.
The battleground here will be consent. In this whole case, the battleground will be consent. And quite frankly, you know, it's...
Okay, you guys, I haven't got his name before. That was A$AP Rocky's attorney, Tacopino, whatever his name is. Not to be rude, y'all. Y'all, let's get the likes up, but yeah.
Sounds like at the time, people were consenting.
My name is Joe Tacopina, fresh off a win at the A$AP Rocky trial in Los Angeles.
We find the defendant not guilty of...
It's not sex trafficking if everyone wants to be there, okay? When you think of sex trafficking, you have connotations of people being sold for sex. I mean, that's what you think of as sex trafficking, normally minors. You're not gonna get that here. And what I've been told is that the defense has countless written communications that will negate any lack of consent.
So you guys, we did hear that Diddy's team was saying that they have text messages and emails and correspondence, like implicating Cassie as being part of, the whole team getting all this stuff together. So this is going to be crazy. However, I still feel like the feds are going to win.
In this case, that will negate any coercion in this case. It's going to be hard for them to say, yeah, I wrote those things, but I was just scared and I wrote that I was happy to come, but I really wasn't happy to come. So I think that this is not quite as signed, sealed, and delivered as people think it is for the prosecution.
Okay, and please let's get the likes up. Now I'm gonna say it like this. If you are sending text messages, oh yeah, we're gonna get the freak off and I'm getting the baby oil, and it's a tone that they're gonna look at. If you are in fear of something, it's gonna be celeb. Did you get the baby oil? Yeah. Did you get the sheets? Mm-hmm. But if I'm talking like, I got the charcuterie board, I got the baby oil, I got the nuts and the candles, they are going to be able to interpret tone. You're not going to be able to, you're not going to be able to fool them. And especially if there's a litany of emails and text messages, and that's what Diddy's team is saying. Again, I'm not pro Diddy. I think he's going to be fried. But I'm just saying, there's a defense there. Y'all, let's get the likes up too, please. Come on.
The second we start making free choice illegal, we got a big problem. And then anybody could be prosecuted for anything. My name is Jose Baez, and I've won.
Yes, fried like KFC, a chicken wing, okay? For real, D-Dot.
Dr. William Bussell. There's got to be a line.
Y'all, did you guys just see that guy right there? Remember him? Aaron Hernandez. Y'all, I be on my gossip. Watch. That's going to be Aaron Hernandez. And y'all remember, he was the football player who was DL. I want to see him again. Remember, y'all? Remember that case?
Any coercion in this case. It's going to be hard for them to say, yeah, I wrote those things, but I was just
yes. Oh, D-Dot, he unalived himself too.
So I think
I remember that. He was a good-looking guy too.
Signed, sealed, and delivered as people think it is for the prosecution.
They just live in large. What is that? French Montana?
The second we start making free choice illegal, we got a big problem. And then anybody could be prosecuted for anything. My name is Jose Baez, and I've won several high-profile cases that are nationally known, like Cassie Anthony, Aaron Hernandez,
yes,
Dr. William Bussell. There's got to be a line.
Y'all, I forgot that Jose Baez represented Cassie Anthony. She is out now, right? Isn't Cassie Anthony out now with her crazy ASS?
And I think people are defined by their choices. And a lot of times we'd love to go back and change those choices, but we can't. We can't. And that doesn't mean that you have to blame someone else for your bad choices. I think consenting adults starts with the word consenting.
Does it end with the word consenting?
I think it does. I think it does. If someone consents to something and then later on they choose to opt out of it, that is still consent. They are still making that choice to opt out of it.
Okay, so consent is a mutual agreement between participants to engage in actual activity. So that's going to be, this is what Diddy's case hinges on, consent or coercion or consent. Let's get the likes up, you guys, please. Let's get the likes up.
If the defense can land the plane of consent in a convincing way, I think that's a problem for the prosecutors. Ebony K. Williams, a host and producer of Equal Justice with Judge Ebony K. Williams, as well as Holding Court with Ebony K. Williams, which is an award-winning podcast.
When you talk about consent, what's interesting is that the 3 alleged victims were girlfriends. And if the defense can show that they were willing participants.
Okay, you guys. So here's the thing. What about Ghislaine Maxwell with this whole Epstein. She was convicted. Could these women also be considered the same or have the same kind of role in the Diddy case as she had with Epstein? I'm just asking the question.
And that there was consent going into these freak-offs, doesn't that hurt the prosecution's case?
Oh, there's no case at that point. If this defense team can convincingly lay out a case that these were girlfriends and that there was consent going on, and perhaps different for us, for your average Joe and Mary on the street, but certainly not wholly atypical for a celebrity of Sean Combs' status and the life in which he is living, which is, extreme by any measure. You know what I'm saying?
Diddy was just out here acting a fool. Oh my goodness, Diddy. He just was something else.
Proud owner.
Y'all, you see Diddy, he up there living life, thinking he balling, two-stepping and all of this. Now look where you at. I mean, ooh, it's not worth it, Diddy.
That is why I'm saying it really is going to turn on the defense's ability to land the plane of consent, to land an argument that says that these were willing, competent, conscious adults who were engaging on their own behalf in activities that maybe you or I think are weird, or you or I.
Y'all, let's get the likes up. I'm sorry. I feel like, again, I have to keep reiterating this because as I say certain things, people think that I'm rooting for Diddy. I am not. But I also think there's a point of accountability. You cannot make me believe these women who were associated with Diddy, who did multiple freak-offs, that you were coerced to do it. You went willingly and you helped plan them. Let's get the likes up. Valeria Griffin says Cassie was to me. Valeria Griffin, baby. Valeria, I'm with you. Nobody wants to say that. Not saying that Cassie didn't become a victim at some point or that it didn't extend like it got crazy, but y'all can't be with this man for 10 years getting gifts and constantly doing this and go, oh, woe is me. No. Y'all are, I won't say just as guilty, but you guilty of something too.
I think might be different, but are legal. This is really going to land on that particular
girl, Cassie.
Kind of personal name.
Cassie, I don't know, but please hit it. I appreciate it if you hit it. And like they say, tap the screen. I guess on the corner there's a little tap the screen. Y'all could tap that too.
That's a compelling argument that this enticement reaches to a point of coercion. I think some jurors are going to buy it, and some are going to really call it.
Yes. Cassie, where were you like months ago when I was saying this and people was taking my head off? Dida says Cassie was loving the gifts. And that's all I'm saying, y'all. I do not feel like, Cassie wasn't a victim. Did he beat her butt? Yes, that's wrong. You shouldn't. But Cassie was taking him gifts, taking him flights. She might get banged up a little bit, but she was like, you know what? This Louis Vuitton, this Rolls Royce I'm riding in, this free apartment, I'll take a bash up. Women deal with men who pay them nothing and get blocked upside the head. So I don't know. Like, don't act like you didn't stay because of the money too.
The feds say Diddy offered these women money, career opportunities, housing expenses to go along with the freak-offs. So how does that play?
Well, here's how it plays. If they willingly accepted housing, career opportunities, and whatever else, money to participate in these freak-offs, and they did it consensually, because they thought they were going to get something for it, it doesn't make it a crime. They consented because it was in their own interest.
If they accepted that stuff and it's a crime, then you are equally guilty, right?
Because they were getting something for it.
Diddy! Cassie, over this way! Cassie, look right! Over your shoulder! Thank you, baby! Oh, yes, twin.
Unless he put a gun to their head and said, unless you take this house.
Dida says Diddy setting all these people up like bowling pins and setting them up and knocking them down. D-Dot, he in there singing like a jaybird. La, la, la. That's why Oprah just got in trouble. That's why I feel like some of these feds, these big youths, like all of these, Diddy is in there singing. He telling.
And participate in my freak off.
Diddy is like, y'all didn't give me my commissary that I wanted. I wanted my charcuterie board. I wanted my Wagyu steak, and I wanted this, and I didn't get it. Jay-Z didn't send it. I'm about to tell on your asses.
I'm gonna blow your brains out. That's different. But if it was like, if you participate in my freak offs, you come to my parties and have some fun with me and my boys, I'm gonna take care of it. I'll get you a house. And they were like, okay.
Did you see what he just said? And I agree with that. He said if somebody puts a GU into your head and says you better do this or there's going to be some consequences, that's coercion. If you say, you know what, you come to my freak off, I'm a take care of you. Yeah, we're going to have a little bit of bubbly and some cheeks clapping and all of this stuff, and you accept it. You don't know what cheeks clapping is. You don't know what coming to a freak off mean. Come on now. You went willingly.
Hey, why is that something a prosecutor can convict someone and put them in jail for the rest of their life for? I don't think it is. And if that's their case, I think a lot of people are going to have trouble with that.
What is
I feel like a lot of other people should be getting in trouble with Diddy. They say it's a RICO. Again, I have to keep saying this. Where are the other people who were doing stuff? We want to know the names. Remember that enterprise letter that they promised us? In the enterprise letter, everything was redacted. We don't even know who it is. It's other people who participated. We need names. Give us the names. I mean, they're playing us for idiots. Okay, you guys, I'm waiting for this commercial to go off. But so far, based on the evidence that we've seen, of course, there's evidence that we don't know because it'll only come out during discovery. I just think Diddy is guilty of something, but I don't think he's the only one. Okay, I want to read what
Okay, why is that something a prosecutor can convict someone and put them in jail for the rest of their life for? I don't think it is. And if that's their case, I think a lot of people are going to have trouble with that.
Y'all, please hit the like button. Let's get the likes up if you don't mind.
What is coercion?
Okay, so it says coercion. Actual coercion is the act of someone pressuring or manipulating you into having actual contact when you don't want to. Now, you guys, now, based on this definition, now I'm a little iffy right here, you guys. I'm a little iffy because when they say the act of someone pressure to your head, but manipulation. So manipulation is a big word. Like that to me, that makes me feel like that's going to be problematic, because what does manipulation mean if Diddy lied and stuff like that? Like, maybe he didn't pressure them, but he manipulated them. And I think that's where the prosecutors are going to be able to catch him up.
If you're flying somebody to Vegas for a weekend, is that sex trafficking? I laugh every time I hear the term sex trafficking. I've been in the Burbank airport on a Friday back in the...
I mean, that doesn't make sense because it's so many, it's so many men that fly women in across the country for escapades. They even talk about it on Instagram. I got flued out, and it's almost like, that's an expectation. You're going to bend over.
When it was nothing but women who were...
Hell, some of the men on this live probably could be in trouble if that's the case.
Flying to Vegas for the weekend. Is that sex trafficking if you give her the money to go buy a ticket to go to Vegas? The idea that somehow if you wine and dine somebody, that's something that you hear about every single industry. And by the way, this industry that Diddy's involved in has coined the expression sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
Yeah.
So what do you expect?
Oh, we gave you some drinks. Now it's time to enjoy life. This is a celebration of life. This is the legendary white party. It's the real white party.
about these parties that everyone was dying to go to. I mean, if you got invited to a Diddy party back then, you were like, wow, you were it, you were made it.
I can remember when I was younger, I wanted to go to a Diddy party. I heard about them white parties. I heard about the parties that marked the vineyards. It was like only the cool people. Everybody heard about those.
Let's just start to get our groove on a little bit. Then an hour we put the kids away. It's all good. All right, DJ, let's hit it. Let's do it.
Everyone couldn't wait to go. And then if they got something for it, they were even more happy to go. Now, upon reflection and in this era that we live in now where, you know, all of a sudden everything becomes a criminal act, it's a lot easier to now point the finger and say, oh, I didn't consent. But you have to really, really prove that up. It can't be just, you know, I'm saying it, and I got a lawyer, and, you know, we're in the Me Too movement era, and I'm just going to make a claim, and let's hope it sticks. Doesn't work that way.
I think a lot of people made the claims after Cassie won her, you know, after he settled with Cassie for $30 million. Of course people are going to come out. Even if they were willing participants back in the day, they trying to get a bag. Y'all get the likes up. Please hit the like button.
Was dangling his ability to make or break their careers, give them money or cut them off in order to push them into doing these freak-offs. And they say that's evidence of coercion. What do you think?
Look, they didn't have to accept his money.
Right.
And if they said, look, I'm not doing this freak-off thing with you, and that means you're not going to pay for my house, I don't need your house. Don't pay for my house. But he has no obligation to pay for someone's house. They know what they're bargaining for. They know what they're getting into. But saying, I won't continue to further support you financially if you don't participate in a freak-off, okay. Then don't support me financially, but I'm not.
See, I think that's the key right there. If you accepted his payment, his money, or his gifts, you are just as guilty.
Participating, and goodbye.
I'm trying to make as much money as I can this year. I think that's a good idea. Why don't we all get on that same page? Let's all make as much money as we can this year.
If the defense has an opportunity to really start picking away one or two jurors from buying the prosecution argument, it's going to be on this piece, something that I tend to call the golden carrot. You know, this argument that I agree the prosecutors are going to make that say Sean Combs is so all-encompassing of a figure in this industry and really global culture at this point, that when he promises a record deal, when he promises a career advancement, when he promises this luxury car or this luxury vacation, that this becomes convincing. No one's owed a luxury 5-star vacation.
The indictment alleges that he maintained control over the victims in several ways, including by giving them drugs such as ketamine, ecstasy, and GHB, which Combs distributed to the victims to keep them obedient and compliant.
Now that's going to be a problem too. If he was administering drugs to people unknowingly, then that's a problem. But if he was giving them and just providing access, then that's a different case again. That's not coercion. That's, you know, that's consent. I'm assuming consent, you know. Thank you, Ericy. Ericy says, right, let's get those other 6 likes up. Yeah, let's get them up, y'all.
The prosecution is saying the drugs were used to manipulate. The defense is saying it was the women's choice to take them or not.
Yeah, I think if that's the case, we need to start rounding up all the bartenders.
Here's the thing. If these women were taking drugs, I feel like they wanted... You're not just in the realm of taking drugs. And let me say this. Okay, and I'm going to just say this. You guys let me know of what you think. If you are put in a position and you feel like somebody drugged you, would you go back if you're not into that lifestyle? No. More than likely, you wouldn't. So that's not a good defense to me.
Serve people.
You wanted those drugs.
And ultimately get DUIs or DUI manslaughters. And if you choose to take an illegal substance, you have to bear the responsibility of what happens next, unless they're being given something that would totally incapacitate them.
Unknowingly.
And they're unaware of it.
Yes. Let's hit the like button, y'all. Let's get the likes up. Okay. Okay, here's a young Cassie. Thanks, D-Dot. Smash the like button like Grandma Peaches did to Jodeci. Okay? Yes, y'all. Smash the like button. Look at Cassie was so young back then.
I challenge someone to find me another sex trafficking case with a 10-year adult relation. Go ahead. Take all the...
That's the problem. Now, one thing I'm going to say is the fact that she was younger, because she was like 19 or something. They're going to use her age against him and say, well, Diddy was older. He was wiser. So I could see that. But then just like he said, 10 years? Come on, Cassie.
time you need to find another sex trafficking case with a 10-year adult relationship. And you won't find it. It's just not there.
Yeah, he he lied about the baby oil, talking about he got it from Costco. Why would he even say something like that? If they found, what difference does it make where he got it from? He had it, so you should have just left it alone instead of trying to justify like, oh, I mean, that was crazy.
Cassie is going to be the star witness. And the feds acknowledged that there was a span between 2009 and 2018 where these freak-offs occurred. And this was during their on-again, off-again relationship. Does the longevity of that relationship help the defense when it comes to issues like consent?
I think that undermines any suggestion that it was coercive. I think it was a relationship. Anybody who saw them, anybody who witnessed them, I off and on would have a front row seat. And I will tell you that that relationship, which was well chronicled, including by your publication, does not appear to me to be anything more than a very spirited and emotional long-term relationship.
Yeah, after 10 years, ma'am, you kind of knew what this man was about. I'm sorry. Years and years. It's going to be hard for her to act like she was a victim the whole time.
The point that prosecutors are actually infantilizing women, taking their agency away by making it seem like they just can't say no to all the goodies that he was offering. What do you think about that?
It's a great point, Harvey. I mean, it really does. It lends to that argument.
Valeria says, I bet you only wanted to go to dance to, not party like Diddy do on the wild side. I agree. A lot was forced from being rug induced. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you on that.
The defense has to be very crafty in how they bring that argument up because you don't want to be offensive either. But it does sort of sound very disrespectful to women. They don't have the wherewithal or the ability to say, no, I don't want to do this, and thank you very much. If a woman doesn't want to be degraded.
And that's a lie, because as women, we know, when you're putting yourself in harm's way. I don't want to say harm's way, but if there's a party or a situation where there's a bit of freaky. Here in the Bay Area years ago, we used to have this thing called for Halloween, it would be the freak night or something, the exotic erotic ball. It was really big out here, right, in the Bay Area. I always wanted to go just because it was like I would hear stuff like it gets crazy. Did I ever go? Hell no, because I heard people were walking around naked. I heard it was crazy. I was not going to put myself in that. I didn't know what was going to happen. In my mind, it was like, oh, wow, I bet you it's crazy. I just want to see what they do. Would I go? No, because you know why? Because I don't want to be caught up in that mess. If something happens, they slip me something. No. So we know when we're putting ourselves in bad situations.
And placed in a position that she doesn't want to be in. Again, doesn't want to be in. Then she should walk away from this guy in total.
Yeah.
Including all his creature comforts that he's given them.
I mean, the prosecution is also arguing that there was violence at play, that there were physical and aggressive...
I mean, come on. The lifestyle that they had, that they lived, it probably was so hard for her to walk away. Yeah, it was.
Violent tactics also being used by Sean Combs. And see, it's the conflation, I believe, but a defense ability to keep the physical violence piece on one side and perhaps this autonomous lifestyle choice piece on another side, I think that puts the defense in a stronger position.
I'm going to take that off the screen because they really don't like us showing that
Their difficulties
scene with
did
Diddy.
not stem from their intimate time together. Their difficulties stemmed from the fact that she was cheating on him and he was cheating on her.
Yeah, right.
What we see in that video is terrible. It's unforgivable, and we don't seek to.
Yeah, I don't buy this whole cheating thing. Like, even if she was cheating, don't put your hands on her. Sorry.
But it's
Let's get the likes up, you guys.
To the charge. In terms of his criminal defense lawyer, that is not a piece of relevant evidence to the charge. And that's what I'm going to say about that. Do I think it's going to be part of the evidence? I'm expecting it will be.
How does the defense explain away a video that paints a horrendous picture of Diddy?
I mean, imagine it would be an argument like this. You know, who someone is on their worst day of their life, in their worst moment of their entire lived experience, is not who they are in totality. If the
And here's another thing. Another side of that is the fact that they're going to say this was his worst behavior. And why does she keep going back? Trust me, y'all, let's get the likes up. Please hit the like button. That's what the defense is going to say. Well, yeah, relationships are tumultuous and all of this stuff, but why does she keep coming back? I promise you that's one of the things they're going to say.
defense can sell that convincingly, I think they stand to fight another day.
Diddy. To the eyes of the D.
So let's talk about the Cassie video. He is not being prosecuted for that. It's a state crime, and the statute of limitations has run. But this jury is going to see that video. How does the defense overcome that?
Well, you say he's not being prosecuted for that, but he actually is. You know, whether it's done at this time or at that time, it's still being done. So you can try your best to justify, or you can try your best to explain that aspect, that he's not on trial for this, he's on trial for something else. But the reality is, those arguments fall on deaf ears. The prosecution is going to say some very ugly things about his behavior, about that specific incident. I think the defense would have to be even harsher and worse in describing that incident and showing how he is absolutely ashamed, embarrassed, humiliated, and incredibly regretful for that stupid decision. If you give them nowhere to go, they've got nowhere to go.
Y'all, you know I had to take that off, okay.
We told you.
Let's get the likes up too, please. Can we get the likes up?
Diddy's ex, Cassie, filed against him alleging rape, alleging human trafficking, and as quickly as it came, it went. Just over 24 hours after she filed the lawsuit, they settled it.
That was
shocking.
crazy.
I mean, we knew that there would be talk of a settlement. I just didn't think it would come this quickly.
Even
porn stars across state lines.
And we have to be able to utilize every tool at our disposal to try and see where the actual truth lies.
Sean Combs led and participated in a racketeering conspiracy that used the business empire he controlled to carry out criminal activity.
Okay, so racketeering is defined as a felony involving illegal activities like gambling, extortion, arson, or trafficking. So I think there's the arson claim. If they go back to Kid Cudi, maybe they're going to include that. Maybe he would be a victim. I don't think there's an extortion piece. We know there's not a gambling piece, but the trafficking, that's the part that they're really trying to hone in on and say that the women were willing and that they were the girlfriends. And y'all, let's get the likes up, please.
This is a racketeering case about threesomes at the end of the day. And this is an important sort of takeaway. If they can do this to Mr. Combs and intrude into his private life and build a racketeering case, then truly nobody is safe.
I mean, This is not what you would find in a typical racketeering case. These freak-offs, if you will, are not your typical racketeering activity. What normally you would find is mob murders, drug cartels, financial frauds even. But something like this is very, very different. So it's not going to be that easy to sell it as a racketeering conspiracy.
Well, maybe they're using it as to make a precedence. I mean, even though this is not the typical case, let's get the likes up, y'all. Maybe they're going to make him an example.
This feels like the feds have taken Diddy, an individual, and they have kind of focused on him as an organized crime figure. Does that strike you that they're using those tools against an individual?
It is very true that this is not the norm per se. We don't tend to always see individuals, certainly not high-profile global celebrity figures, under criminal prosecution in this format. But we can't say it's unprecedented either, because again, you know, we do have a couple of examples, R. Kelly being most recent to cite.
R. Kelly is spending more time in prison after being sentenced federally for child pornography and enticement of minors for sex.
R. Kelly really involved minors, and that's not the case here with the 3 alleged victims that are in the federal prosecution.
Indeed, but we know that it's not a requirement that someone has to be a legal minor to be subject to the prosecution and the elements, kind of as we know them, to be at play here.
Combs has been charged with RICO conspiracy. He used his business and employees of that business and other close associates to get his way.
How does it strike you that...
See, that's where I think he's going to probably have a big snag because of the manipulation. Not necessarily coercion, but the manipulation piece. Let's get the likes up, you guys.
The federal government is using kind of organized crime statutes to prosecute, some would say, what goes on in the bedroom.
If you want to be honest, this man's business is not organized crime. He's an entertainer and has been for years, and he's also been very successful in business.
Is Diddy so valuable that you get to own a piece of a business without putting any money in to begin with?
Oh, wow.
Why?
There is a value to my involvement that has to be factored in.
To attack him in that way, I think it's not only false on his face, but it really tries to get you to appeal to your biases.
Combs abused, threatened, and coerced victims to fulfill his sexual desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct.
Can the defense use the racketeering charge to say this is how far prosecutors are going to get him? That it's a law that usually is brought against the mafia, and here they're bringing it against an individual. Does that fly with the jury? Can it be brought up by the defense?
I don't see why it couldn't be. This seems like a bridge too far.
Why is it a bridge too far?
Because you would have to believe all of the urban legends that are not in the indictment.
And then it came out that it was over 1,000 people that were victims of Diddy and his weird tactics. My heart goes out for these damn kids. They're little as 9 years old.
Now, here's the interesting part. When they talk about these kids that were as young as 9 years old, that is not part of the indictment or the criminal case. So where is all of this coming from?
He's the equivalent of a mob boss, and he has people working underneath him to put all these things into play so he could benefit off of the corruption.
That's who he is. That's who Puffy is. He's one.
Valaria says, I also agree. A lot of the girls traffic themselves, yes, but crimes against humanity is another case. Yeah, I mean, that's very big in the you know, urban settings, unfortunately.
He's a mafia member.
What the indictment does not have in it, the indictment does not have a detailed complaint about minors, does not have a detailed sex trafficking other than saying that there were escorts who were involved in consensual private sex. That's what the indictment alleges. It's almost as if this is Epstein derangement syndrome, in that we never got our fill with Epstein because he killed himself or some other explanation. And so now we're going to take all of those Epstein urban legends and we're going to imprint them or overlay them against Diddy.
Wow.
I believe
Diddy pays for things to go away. Absolutely. Yeah. I believe also he pays for things to go away. And now that he's incarcerated, I think it's harder for him to like sweep things under the carpet. And I think that's why most, I believe like he's ratting on people. I know they say snitching or whatever, but I believe he's telling on people. And because I believe like before he was incarcerated, he could take care of things a lot better. But now with him being in the position that he's in, I mean, I don't think he has the clout that he has before. And so people are going to come forward. They're going to be pointing fingers. Eric E says, and come back evidently. I just think that right now, Diddy is not the man that he used to be. And so people are going to be telling on him. But this indictment is the thing that he's really got to worry about, because you guys already know that some of those cases that Busby had against him, a lot of those cases are in limbo now because Busby can't, appear in the courts to against Diddy. So and that's kind of fair that Busby did that. Valeria says they need a black book listing clients. I know. You know what? That Enterprise letter was supposed to give us some of that. D-Dot says Buzznuts is. Why did he do that, D-Dot? Now that pisses me off because everybody, we all had our, we were all supporting him. Oh yeah, Busby gonna take him down. Busby got like 1,000 people coming forward. And this man knows the law and he knows he should not even be filing cases in that jurisdiction. Like he totally screwed up. At this point, I'm done with him. I did another video where, y'all, even after all of this Diddy drama, do you know this man has the nerve? Okay, I'm gonna go back here real quick. Let me go here. Just rewind just a little bit. Busby got the nerve to have filed a case against Andrew Tate. Why? You haven't even fought the case against Jay-Z. You lost that thing with Jay-Z. Okay, you guys. What am I doing now?
A detailed sex trafficking other than saying that there were escorts who, for somebody, who do they work for?
So is that a defense that essentially Diddy is the John and that prosecutors, by not going after the pimp but rather the John, it kind of shows they're out to get him? Is that what the defense would do?
Just reading the indictment, that's what strikes me. I've never seen a indictment that charges the John with being a pimp.
That sounds like what we call in the law kind of like selective prosecution, that you don't charge.
Oh, so they're saying Diddy was like the John, that he wasn't pimping the girls. This is crazy.
Johns generally, but you're charging this John federally, and you're overlooking the sex worker.
Well, and not only overlooking the sex worker, then you're throwing in what appears to be a domestic violence case, which is peculiarly a state offense, where the statute of limitations expired, and you've heard the expression, make a federal case out of it. They made a federal case out of it.
If all the prosecution can offer by way of proof and argument when they put this thing up for trial is that Sean Combs was having threesomes and participating with the enjoyment of legally hired sexual escorts, they're gonna lose, period.
I'm on my second mountain. I'm on my second.
I'm going to get something for it. It doesn't make it a
Y'all, I
crime.
went back too far.
Because it was in their own interest.
But I feel like she's minimizing it. It's like, ma'am, it's not, it's more to it than that, okay? So I just feel like she's kind of minimizing the kind of evidence that they have. And again, we haven't seen it all because I think they're in the discovery phase now. I think they are.
Some pretty lurid sexual discussions.
It's kind of an interesting way of bordeering the jury. Do you ask them about their sexual tolerance, their proclivities, things like that?
Yeah, there is a very sensitive aspect to getting into someone's sexual proclivity, but I think that there is a way to design questions that you can explore that.
There's another thing that I think is important here that people wouldn't ordinarily think about that I often
I was about to say that sounds like
complex trials, and that is the collective personality of the jury. I would want a very diverse jury. I don't want this.
Okay, so now they're getting into the jury pool and the type of jurors that they're going to want. That's going to be critical to his case, because if he can get one person or two to kind of side with him, it's a wrap.
Jury getting along well. I want this jury to be coming from a lot of different walks of life. I want them arguing. I think one of the things you may be looking for is to hang this jury up and not get to a verdict. And if you have a divided jury, a diverse jury that doesn't get along well, you could very well hang this independent of the evidence.
And you guys, did you guys hear that they said Diddy might be getting out on bail?
So, if the jury is hung,
Vlad TV apparently, allegedly said that he heard that Diddy might be getting out. D-Dot says he's like a light-skinned version of Joe Brown, by the way. I know, right? He is. Joe Brown be off the hook. I think Joe Brown is kind of losing it. Did you hear how he went off on Kamala Harris? He talked about that woman all up under her skirt. Okay, it's not playing now.
Prepare for that the second time around is going to help you for the second trial if there is a second trial. And depending on how close they got to a conviction, their appetite for doing this a second time could go way down.
That's what it is. These are crooked people. Never happened in our country called weaponization of the Department of Justice and the FBI.
That's another thing, you guys. Trump is not going to pardon Diddy, allegedly.
It's all stuff.
The president reaching his final decision Sunday, writing in a statement, no reasonable person who looks at the facts of Hunter's cases can reach any other conclusion than Hunter was singled out only because he is my son. And that is wrong.
is this a good time for the defense in that there is a distrust of institutions, especially the Justice Department? We've heard both Democrats and Republicans talking about the Justice Department.
Hey, welcome, Loving Myself. Oh, heck no. The same way Yolanda Salvador was denied bail. He's denied bail. Oh, yeah.
That I can think in my lifetime.
Michael Miller says he might get out on bond, but he's going
the legitimacy of a federal prosecution. And I don't say that.
Y'all, I'm trying to be careful pausing this because I keep having problems.
Disbelief around kind of historic institutions, whether it be the DOJ, whether it be the United States Supreme Court. What is really behind?
But Michael, But the thing about it is, why would they let him out so late when the trial is set to start next month? That's kind of weird.
If I'm a defense counsel or a defendant, it's a good time to be put 12 in a box, so to speak, to challenge and really suss out the credibility of the charging institutions.
One of the things that I think you have to do in a case like this is what I call plaintiffing the defense. That is,
okay, it paused for me, you guys. So Vlad said that he might get out, which we know that Vlad has a lot of inside connections and everything, but why would they let him out now? Like, it's gonna start next month. Valeria says, Eric E., I'm sure there's a money trail somewhere, wire transfers or large there's always a money trail, anything over 10,000 and probably even anything even under that. Y'all, let's get the likes up too. But why would they let him out now? That's crazy to me. They denied him all these other times. We haven't heard that there's been any kind of an appeal. Loving Myself says, and you guys, please go follow Loving Myself. She has a YouTube channel. If they let him out on bail, they should let R. Kelly out. Girl, R. Kelly already convicted. They're not letting him out. But I think R. Kelly was out when he was fighting his case, wasn't he? I can't remember.
In defending P. Diddy, what you need to do is put the prosecution on trial for prosecutorial abuse, misconduct, overreach, abuse of their authority. Now, people are listening to this probably saying, wow, that seems really unfair. It's not a matter of unfair. This is a chess game. This is chess, not checkers. It's a
Whoa.
matter of doing what you're doing and gathering the information you're doing in a very subtle way. I'm not saying that everybody is as adept at it as everyone else. I'm just saying your client is entitled to the best defense you can provide them.
Tournament insanity continues with 4 great games of postseason action.
Okay, you guys, so that's commercial. Got to turn the commercial off. Loving Myself says nope. I'm not sure what you're saying nope to, but can y'all hit the like button, please? Get the likes up. Again, back to the whole bail thing. Valeria says no bond. I doubt it. I don't think so either. I just don't. Hey, Bookworm, welcome. Welcome to the chat. It's good to see you. I don't think that he's getting out, but I mean, and who told Vlad that? They be talking a whole lot of ish. Like, why you think that? And at this late stage in the game, if you look at well, I haven't been on there for a minute, but if you go to Pacer and you look at the documents filed, there's no new documents, as far as I know, about any bail. So usually in court cases, they don't do a retro. Like, you would have to, once it's been denied, they would have to go back and update. You know, it'd have to be a new filing. Bookworm says, just stopping by, heading out. It's happy birthday! Enjoy. Have a good time. Be safe. Don't drink and drive. It's Sunday. You know. So I hope you have a good time. Happy birthday. Let me try to sing happy birthday to you. Let's see. Loving Myself says R. Kelly wasn't out when he was. Oh, he wasn't? I don't remember. D-Dot says, don't be like Dave East. Bookworm says, thank you, sis. Yeah, just don't overdo it, because, you know, tomorrow's Monday, okay? But have a good time. Oh, wait, you guys, I think.
Profit. He's already rich. So whether or not he had freak offs or he did whatever, follow the money. Well, there is no money. Exactly. I mean, the freak offs aren't okay. The way in which I read it, it's not an illegal business. A freak off is a freak, or whatever these things are, right? Wrong. That's my word. But the profit. That last word actually got my attention, because I was like, how is he making any money in that thing at all? So, I don't know.
You follow the money in a lot of situations like this if you really want to get to the truth, right? I wholeheartedly agree. If you take for profit, the last 2 words of this definition out of it, does it change the way you look at it or the validity of that allegation towards him at all?
Well, I don't believe that you can take profit out of this, and simply because this is what he's been charged with. And there, from what I could see, there was no profit.
It does say that, so that last sentence, right? And combs to and from free combs, resupplying combs with requested supplies, delivering large sums of cash to combs. So there was profit to him, to the pay of commercial sex workers.
He could turn around and say, I didn't make any money. I gave you money. Yeah, I mean, if racketeering is what racketeering is, right? Yes. And I'm thinking, you know, mob and other stuff. Even if people turn on him, it's like, what kind of money did I make? Maybe I did increase my profile, but my profile was wherever it was before. Like, I actually think the racketeering charge might be the hardest one for anybody to pull off.
But if these parties are sponsored and like any of those parties are paid for by his business and Combs Enterprises, it's a business activity.
Right, but it's a loss. It's not a profit. I mean, if it's on your ledger, Combs Enterprise could be like, this is part of my marketing budget. My marketing budget doesn't give me any income. I just kick out money.
Is he the only person being prosecuted? There's nobody else in jail but him.
Because he was the ultimate facilitator of all of this. He was the Gatsby, if you will, of all of this.
Yeah.
He was the one who probably, as
He's the one with the name. He's the man with the money. I get
wanted
that.
to be the center of all of it as a star.
If he's guilty and it's a big enterprise, then where's all the other associates?
You're gonna bring one down, bring them all down.
Yeah, that's what.
Well, that's
where.
Well, but maybe they will later. Like it says, employees as well carried this out, so maybe they're still coming.
Count 2, trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion.
This is a duck. Like, if it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, it's a duck. This is a duck to me.
I believe.
I'm like, this is unlike the racketeering charge.
Yeah.
This is a duck.
I
I'm like,
agree
wait a
with
second.
you.
And even when Garagos was talking about flying somebody from LA to Vegas to party, you ain't supposed to do that. That's sex trafficking.
Yeah.
Whether it's by force or
Athletes do that. Everybody flies girls out nowadays.
it's illegal. I mean, this is the thing. Like, no, I'm not saying that people don't do it. I mean, but it's illegal. Like, this is the charge. You know what I'm saying?
Every day, all day. You convinced me that the sex trafficking by force and fraud was proven enough for me to believe that this actually went down.
Oh, because
the transportation of all of these people from across country or state lines is something that's established, right? Because
Yeah.
they were flown out in private jets or in regular 747s. That much is on paper. Does that prove that it's sex trafficking? No, but it's a pretty damn strong indication.
But the coercion piece is somebody mentioned about, people want their career to blow up or whatever. That's coercion. I mean, it's different modes of coercion. And whether or not, you shouldn't make that choice. You did make a choice, but it's coercion.
These people from across country surprise me at all. Is that a definition, or does that fit a definition of coercion in any way? Bribery?
I think his name alone would make them do that. I don't even think he would have to.
Yeah, like
I'll help you with your career. I'll make you a star. Come party with me.
girls, if you listen to what they say, because I'm a little bit young, I can see the social media. Girls ask to get flown out nowadays. Does that mean I go to jail because I did that?
It depends on whether or not there's sexual activity, drug use, whether that sexual activity is consensual or not.
Consent.
It's about what happens after they fly them out. If he flies them out saying, hey, I want to hear your voice, I want you to record a few songs for me, I think you've got potential, something like that, then absolutely, what you just said right
Yeah, Valeria, but the problem is they have to prove that she was running from a freak off and not just a domestic incident that she was having with Diddy. So that's what his defense is arguing, that it wasn't a freak off, but she says it was.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying, like, all right, so you might not want to hook up with him at the time, right? All right, you get out there, no one knows what happens when you're hanging out. If drug use is in your system the next day and stuff happened that you weren't ready for, you can prove that I did not want this to happen.
Right. Cassie was in a relationship for 10 years. I don't know how you oppose.
Yeah, that's the problem with Cassie. 10 years.
Relationship with him for 10 years. I don't know how many years the other two ladies were in a relationship with him, but 10 years.
Look at how many abusive relationships there are and how long those women stay. Like it can be up to over 20 years. Exactly.
They don't want to get strangled or something.
And imagine it being the most powerful person there is in the rap career. I would stay for that long too. Why wouldn't I?
The three girlfriends question is, can you be in a relationship and still be coerced sexually? And I think you just
I think you can.
Yeah, so I think that's a yes. I don't think time in a relationship stops you from being coerced. I think it probably gets worse.
Yes, D-Dot, she does. I was thinking that too. She does look like Jada.
And what if they felt like they would be tracked?
Could be Jada's sister.
There were
For their
rumors she
family.
put a car bomb in one of their cars.
They say he's
one of them.
It's a rumor.
I mean, that's rumor.
And she tried to get out of the hotel, and he literally kicked her and dragged her back in the room.
It's not like he just grabbed her. He grabbed her and dragged her, and then kicked her, and then kicked her again. And it's just like you cannot unwatch that.
Count 3, transportation to engage in prostitution. Well, clearly, I mean, if they were ex-workers, then yeah. And he provided them access to get to them, for sure.
Over state or country lines. So
Thank you.
compared to the other ones, this is more obvious.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think
Ain't no party like a Diddy party.
Oh yeah.
And I say that because maybe someone was coming from out of town to party with Diddy, they ended up having sex. But does that mean that they were a sex worker? They might have just been coming to have a party.
No, but that's
Oh, that's different.
Diddy
That's something
party.
else.
But if you go to a Diddy party, this is gonna sound technical, but if you go to a Diddy party and
Yeah,
you're
D-Dot
sex
for
with a
sure.
sex worker that
But
Diddy
they
owns,
accepted it though. Like, yeah, he did pay him. And they took the money, and I think they knew what they were going to do. They was going to bend over.
maybe it's just cash money. That's
As someone who works for him's assistant making these payments.
No paper
He's
trail,
so
cash
resourceful. He's got dozens of people who could be carrying out some
And it
of
may
these
not
things for
even
him.
be money, it might be just a favor.
Or ungodly amounts of cash that the man has hanging around.
She
Right?
does look like Jada.
crystal
She does.
clear that this happens to I mean, seriously, 100 dudes, white dudes in LA doing this right now.
Yeah.
100, easy. However, no, they are not Diddy. But no, they don't have a 14-page indictment. I mean, he committed crimes. He ain't the only dude committing crimes. He committed
Yeah.
crimes. Our job as a jury is to whether or not we say find him guilty or not guilty on these three charges. It ain't right. It definitely ain't right. You know what I mean?
That's all.
It definitely ain't right, though.
Okay, you guys, what are we saying? I already know what my verdict is. Do we have our verdict? Michael says he's going to beat a lot of cases, but we can't forget there is a RICO charge. Yeah.
Madam Foreperson, will you stand, please?
Okay, y'all.
And will you read the verdict?
I have my verdict.
We, the jury, in the above entitled
Yep,
action,
D-Dot, I'm with you.
find the defendant, Sean Diddy Combs, 6 guilty, 6 not guilty
What?
for the crime of racketeering conspiracy.
Split down the middle. Second count.
We, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant, Sean Diddy Combs, 10 guilty, 2 not guilty of the crime of sex trafficking by
See?
force, fraud, or coercion.
Oh my
Final
God.
count.
We, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant, Sean Diddy Combs, 12 guilty of the crime of transportation to engage in prostitution.
So on the
Okay.
last count, the jury was unanimous.
Wow.
Was it easier for you to come together on that last count, the transportation of prostitution charge?
Just the evidence.
Well, Cassie said that they did it together, so.
The stories that we were hearing and the videos that we seen him in his full prime abusing somebody, so it just makes it more believable for me that he can do other things as well.
So it's interesting because the Cassie video really doesn't relate to that count. It relates to the other count. Yet on that one, you were unanimous. How many people
Wow.
did this profoundly
I'm shocked.
impact in making your decision, that Cassie video? Show of hands. So it really impacted you folks.
Y'all see my hand?
Did it turn it for you?
Yeah.
Why?
Being a woman myself and seeing a woman like that just made me more sensitive to the whole case itself, and probably maybe more siding with the victim, seeing a victim instead of him being the person that was attacking her. So I can't side with him because I don't see anything done to him in that light that was done to her.
I didn't know much about the case at all, so I came in completely objective and
Oh,
watching
okay.
him beat his girlfriend. He's like prohibiting her from leaving as well. It's very distressing to watch.
So you found him guilty on that third count. Yes, sir. Based on that third count, should Diddy go to prison?
Yeah, I think so.
Why?
He has proven time and time again that he has gotten away with so many things that he obviously shouldn't have gotten away with, and it's gotten to such a point where he is such, like, honestly a danger to society and a danger to, like, women in general. So I don't think he should be, like, out in public. I don't think he should be doing it anymore. He's gotten too many free passes.
Your question about whether he should do time is challenging because I don't know if he should do time.
Is the racial
Oh, wow.
component what's giving you
Oh yeah,
pause?
there's no doubt about that. There's no doubt about it. I mean, there's enough brothers in jail. They don't need to. I mean,
What?
you know.
If you think he's guilty, D-Dot says yes, he needs to stay his black behind it. Yeah, if you find the man guilty, then what are you talking about? That's crazy. Okay, you guys. So I think most of us agreed that he was guilty, but it looks like they broke it down in the charges. So all of the time that he's facing, based on that mock jury, he would not be serving the, I think the 30, whatever, I was about to say 30,000 years, y'all. That's crazy. But it looks like he probably would get a reduced sentence if they were to, present that, because the jurors could not even agree on unanimously on all charges. And I think that's going to be the problem. I think there's some problems with it, but I also feel that overall he's guilty. And I do think he's going to do some time. So people saying he's going to get off, I don't think so. No. Now, will some of the charges be, I think some of the charges are going to be reduced, but he going to do some time. That's all I'm saying. And thank y'all for being my co-jurors today. This was fun. I appreciate this. You guys, it was cool. As always, a shout out to D. Dot, Eric E, Michael Miller, Valeria. Valeria, thank you for joining. My first time seeing you here. Big Bookworm, you supposed to be out partying for the birthday. But thank you, love having you here too. I'm just shocked though, because I know mock trials are very representative of how people think. And it depends on where they get the people from and stuff. And the fact that it's a TMZ jury might taint it, really and stuff. But this is interesting because I really don't think you're going to find a jury to unanimously agree on all of these things, because still they're gonna be looking at Cassie like, girl, you had a hand in some of this. And I don't know, y'all. I think the man is going to stay in jail. I don't think he's getting out on bond. And but I don't think that all of those charges, I don't think he's going to get the most harshest penalty. And I feel like if he was smart, he would plea deal, because you're not going to get off on all those charges. But anyway, y'all, we've been on here for over an hour. I had a good time with you guys. It was fun. And I will see you later on another, probably not today, but maybe tomorrow. But y'all, do me a favor. Go check out some of my pre-recorded videos and leave a comment. And, Big Bookworm says agreed. Yeah, I mean, I think we all know that he's going to do some time. I don't think he's getting out on bail. What did D-Dot say? D-Dot. D-Dot says he better. D-Dot, he ain't getting out. He ain't getting out on bail. I don't think Diddy gonna see the outside of a jail for the next decade or two. That's what I'm saying. But anyway, y'all, go have a beautiful Sunday. Y'all, I'm getting ready to leave here and I'm getting ready to go. My mom wanted me to make cabbage and ribs. I don't know if y'all ever had it. And I gotta go to the store so I could go cook for her today. So that's what I'm gonna do with the rest of my day. But anyway, y'all have a blessed day. Big Bookworm, have a beautiful birthday. Have fun. Like I said, be safe. And I'll see y'all on the next video. Bye.